This is a video topic that might get some of y'all mad, but I felt like it was appropriate to go out there and make it anyway. Now, we already made one Bo versus Bo video that was back when the teams actually played off against each other a few days after the trade. But in this video, what I wanted to do was more so just talk about the dynamic between both of these guys and how they've performed so far on their new teams. Of course, as I said, Bo versus Bo. This is Bo Horvat versus Anthony Beauvillier, two guys involved in the same trade between the Vancouver Canucks and the New York Islanders. The catch is, Bo Horvat was on, let's just say, a bigger scale as to what he was able to get in terms of the trade. It was Bo for Beauvillier, Ratu, and a first, and we could talk about the first later and how that became Filip Hronek, but we can save that video for another day. Bo Horvat has been a subject of conversation ever since his start of the year, which has been incredible. The guy has been so good at scoring goals this entire season, and he caps off his 2022-2023 Canucks stint with 31 goals and 54 total points. This was, as we have been talking about the entire season, pretty much the best year Bo Horvat has ever had as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. The guy broke all of his own records in terms of points per game and goals per game and all that, and he was scoring a bunch. I mean, getting 31 goals in the span of 49 games played is incredible, and because of this performance, he was touted more so as a goal scorer, which I don't really blame other NHL fans for doing. It's just Bo Horvat, to the Vancouver Canucks fan base that had watched him for so many years, was never really seen as a quote-unquote goal scorer until, let's just say, last season, the end of last season, when he really started to pop off and consistently produce goals. That momentum carried over to this season, which is why you see the number that he is at today. But because he had this reputation of being such a talented goal scorer who had 31 goals in 45 games played, a lot of fans of the Islanders, for example, were super stoked when Bo was acquired by their team. Okay, great. We essentially just got a head start on the free agency pool and acquired Bo Horvat, giving up guys whom it's going to suck seeing leave the organization. Obviously, everybody liked Aatu Ratu. The first-round pick was valuable too, and then Beauvillier had his fans as well. But we're getting that goal scorer in return, and that's going to be a huge addition. Look at Bo Horvat, he's on pace for 60 goals at the time of the trade, and so it's going to be great. And now, if you take a look at how things have gone since then, Bo Horvat, in 14 games played for the New York Islanders, has 5 goals and 3 assists for 8 total points. He is now under a point per game on the season, and you could attribute this to a few things. Firstly, okay, the Islanders system, it's Barry Trotz's system, it's Lane Lambert's system, it doesn't matter, it's the same, they play defensive hockey, they don't score any goals, whatever. You could say it's the opportunity, or actually, you can't say it's the opportunity. Bo Horvat has been playing with Barzal on his wing, and it's been a pretty interesting sort of setup. Earlier on, when Bo Horvat was acquired, there were a lot of goals scored by this guy, but now it's been a total of 14 games, he only has 5. Meanwhile, on the other side of the continent, you have Anthony Beauvillier, who was sent over to Vancouver with 49 games played in New York, 9 goals, 11 assists for 20 total points. So he is under half a point a game with the Islanders. He is touted as a streaky player, he doesn't have too much consistency, this and that. And he gets sent over to Vancouver alongside Ratu on the first, and now in 14 games played, Anthony Beauvillier has 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 total points. Beauvillier has been playing, quote-unquote, better than Horvat has in their limited stints since the trade has been accomplished. And it's interesting to note the sort of conversation that pops up every time you acknowledge this point. Oh, Beauvillier has 12 points in 14 games, Horvat has 8. Look at this, Beauvillier is doing better. And whenever you bring this idea up, the thing that Beauvillier kind of inspires in a lot of Islanders fans is that they'll go out there and say, oh, okay, cool, it's nice to see him scoring points, but you just wait until he goes on a cold streak. You just wait until he stops producing because he does that a lot. You just gotta wait because Beauvillier is not gonna keep it up, man. Trust, man, we've seen this for years, man. He's not gonna do it, man. And then you have the Canucks fans going out there and saying, yeah, but Bo Horvat's the same way. You're going to talk about Bo Horvat being this consistent goal scorer because he had 30 goals in 40 games as a Canuck in a contract year? Like, Bo Horvat isn't the most consistent player himself either. He had a really good stretch with Vancouver before getting traded, but now in Long Island, you're sort of seeing a similar pattern manifest itself. I mean, it's been 14 games, the guy only has 5 goals. Do the math on that, 14 divided 5, multiplied out by 82. Bo Horvat scoring at oh boy, that's really bad. It's 5 divided by 14, excuse me, not 14 divided by 5. He is scoring at a 30-goal pace. That is not the same pace that he had earlier on in the season, and this is sort of the point that I wanted to make, because if you acknowledge where Beauvillier is playing in the lineup, he's getting minutes with Kuzmenko, he's getting minutes with Elias Pettersson. For a good chunk of his time, he was playing on the first power play, actually playing in the same spot that Bo Horvat was, in the middle, right there. Not necessarily bumper, but he's a little bit further back, and he's getting tips, he's getting one-time opportunities, etc., etc. The fact is, if you played Bo Horvat with Elias Pettersson, you put Horvat as a winger on PD's wing, he's probably scoring, let's say, 45 to 50 goals in a year. Because Horvat already isn't really the best two-way center, quote-unquote. I don't really think his defensive game is all too polished, nor is it amazing, but his goal-scoring ability, when you give him the reins to just say, okay, walk down the wing and snipe it, do that. He'll go out there and snipe it. He's a north-south sniper at this point, more so than he is a definitive two-way center. He just gets that reputation because he wins a lot of face-offs. And Islanders fans are sort of seeing that in a system that sort of relies a little bit more on defense than Vancouver's, Bo Horvat is sort of getting neutralized, and it's not really his fault. It's more so just a product of circumstance. For Beauvillier's sake, the Canucks run a little bit more of a high-octane offense type of situation there. You have extremely talented players playing with Beauvillier, and he's getting a lot of opportunity. You could tell the Canucks are trying to pump and dump this asset right here by boosting up his value. Oh, he's a point-per-game winger. Look at this. Point-per-game winger who's signed until the end of next season. Trade for him. Give us picks and do all this stuff. Like, the Canucks, whether by proxy or not, really do look like they're boosting up that value. I mean, if they decide to keep Beauvillier and want him to stick around because, oh, they're building for the playoffs and they want to be a playoff team next year, I wouldn't be surprised either. Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford, very much short-sighted and being controlled by Francesco Aquilini. But the fact is, they have been improving the way Beauvillier looks in the eyes of NHL fans and media. He's been playing with good players and he's been producing points at the same time. So for Beauvillier's sake, it's actually pretty good. I mean, this point production he has is some of the best production he's ever had in his career, period. I mean, sure, all the other stints with the Islanders, you could say, oh, he was consistent, he was not consistent. I feel like Bo Horvat has gone through the same up and down consistency issue in the past, that it's really not a talking point that you should be acknowledging here. Because for Bo, I mean, there were many moments throughout last season where he would stop scoring, even in this season's worth of play. A lot of Canucks fans are sort of saying, hey, the Canucks kind of sold Horvat at the perfect time, because at that point, leading into the trade, he had gone maybe like a week or two without really significantly producing goals. So this number of 31 goals in 49 games played, sure, it's amazing in and of itself, but it was a little bit better, let's say a week or two before Horvat was actually traded. He was kind of entering a mini slump at the same time, so I feel like the Canucks got super lucky with the timing of everything, and giving Beauvillier the opportunities that he's been given certainly allows him to produce that point total that he has. As for Bo, I definitely do think that the Islanders system is going to take a little bit of a toll on his offensive production, as we are sort of seeing right now, but at the end of the day, Bo Horvat, $8.5 million, I still don't think he is that caliber of a guy. He has mostly been a 50 to 60 point player his entire career up until this season, and being over a point per game kind of put him in a territory that a lot of people were sort of afraid to confidently establish here in Vancouver. So I do think the Canucks made a good move with this trade. I do like Bo Horvat still. Of course I wish him the best. He's making $8.5 million. Him and his family. Let's go Bo. Let's go Gus. Let's go Holly. The Horvat family is in a good place right now. But when it comes to Bo and his on-ice production, Beauvillier is doing better. Let's just say that. So talk to the comments on your thoughts about Bo versus Bo. Do you agree or disagree with the talking points we had made in this video? Is there more that you think we should have acknowledged here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.